How many things should I focus on? Okay, should I focus on one or two or three or four? What's the magic number here? Hi guys, my video today is all about, again, of course, the law of attraction and how many things should you focus on? I mean, this can be a very confusing topic for a lot of people. I know for me it was extremely confusing. Once I found out that the law of attraction worked, I was just went into like power mode, like, okay, I'm gonna just manifest a ton of things and I'm super excited. And what happened is I got really overwhelmed and didn't do so well. So what I want to cover is how many things should you focus on? You know, is there a magic number, and how can you figure that out for yourself? So both are correct. I mean, you can just zero in on one thing, or you can manifest multiple things at a time. So anyone that tells you this is exactly the way to do it, it's not true. So it really is individualized, and it really just depends on the person. So to find that magic number, that correct number for you, there's two things to really consider. And the first thing is, how many things can you focus on before you start getting overwhelmed? So, of course, being overwhelmed is a negative vibration. So, if you are in that negative vibration, you're not going to manifest anything or move forward. So, I know specifically for myself, my sweet spot is generally two things. And those two things are more in a higher level of resistance. And so if I focus on more than two things at a higher level of resistance, maybe from a 1 to 10, let's say a 7 or an 8 or higher, then if I bring in another type of desire, then it's just, I get overwhelmed and it's not fun. So if visualization, for example, is your technique to deliberately manifest, and you decide you want to manifest more money and, let's say, you know, better friendships, and let's say you are like, okay, I want to manifest a new car. And pretty soon you start going from, you know, visualizing 10 minutes to 20 to 30 and so on. Then sometimes it can start not being so fun for you. So the magic number for you is really going to depend on how many things can you comfortably focus on and feel excited about before you get overwhelmed. So that's the first thing. The second thing to consider, as far as deciding the number for you, is how resistant are you in these manifestations? So going back to myself, like I said, my sweet spot is generally two things. But let's say they are lower in resistance, from a 1 to 10, let's say a 2 or a 3, right? Well, I can manifest several things, right? Let's say I want to manifest somebody, you know, calling me that I haven't heard of from a long time, or, you know, a free lunch or a great parking spot, you know, and so on and so forth. Well, those things for me are a level of resistance, maybe a 2 or 3 or 1 even. So you can manifest lots of things that are lower in resistance to you because, you know, you're not thinking about them that much. You're not really emotionally attached. You kind of care, but kind of don't. You know, it's not a big deal if it happens or not. So those desires or those manifestations, you can focus on lots of things. But what happens is, with the bigger desires, if you decide to focus on several things at a time, what happens is it can dilute them, and also you just start feeling overwhelmed. So those are the two things to keep in mind: is finding your magic number. What is the number for you where you, before you start feeling overwhelmed, and what is the resistance level to you? Because those two things are going to be helpful for you and going to be really valuable in finding the number of desires that you want to deliberately manifest. So stay tuned. I'm going to tell you a law of attraction story, as I do in all of my videos. Before I do that, I just want to remind you there's 3 ways to support my channel. One, of course, is subscribing, which is completely free, and two is sharing my video, and three is becoming a patron. And I will put the links below if you're interested in that. And also I have an Amazon store as well, and it really is all about attracting abundance and positivity in your life. There's amazing books and clothing and apparel and just some really fun stuff. So check that out as well. So my law of attraction story today is about a young woman I met. This was probably a little over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And she was a friend of my friend, and we had all went out to dinner, and we all believe in the law of attraction, and so we kind of like got on that topic. And I had just met her, and she was talking about how she manifested her soulmate or her life partner. And I was, of course, excited. I was like, "Oh, tell me, how'd you do that? Like, what'd you do?" And so she said that she wrote down everything that she was looking for in someone and got really clear on that, got a lot of clarity around that. And she also visualized every night before she went to bed. And what she said is she did this for about, I think it was like 90 days or so, I remember her saying. And interesting enough, it came to her in a way that she just never thought would happen. So what I mean by that is she was completely against online dating. She said I would, I was like never going to do that, and it just kind of felt weird to me and felt uncomfortable, and I just didn't really feel safe with the idea of it. But what happened was about 60 days into it, she kept meeting people that was having a good experience with online dating. And so it kind of was like changing her mind. She was like, "Oh, I should or this kind of pull to try online dating, even though I said I never would. And of course, if you know anything about the law of attraction, when you get those inspired nudges and when you get pulled to something, or you get an inspired idea, you definitely want to act on it as soon as possible. So what she did is that day she created a online profile, and she just said, okay, it's something I'm going to try, and why not? So what happened is she created her profile, and then a week after creating her profile, there was a man that contacted her that she was attracted to, and she read his profile, and she was like, wow, this sounds really great. Like he sounds kind of like what I'm looking for, and he it seems really interesting. And so they had emailed like back and forth for a couple of days. They didn't really spend a lot of time like going back and forth for weeks. They had made a date, a plan to meet pretty like quickly after they started emailing back and forth. So their first date was just like dinner. They just went out to dinner, and I remember her telling me that she felt like she had known him for a long time, even though she just met him. And she said there was just that instant like chemistry and instant kind of like recognition, like I feel like I've known you for like all of my life, even though like I just met you, type of thing. And so they had like this amazing first date, and then they literally made plans for a second date on their first date. And she just literally said it just happened like so quickly. Like they fell in love, and he proposed to her, I think it was like 6 months after they met, and they got married